Feel free to use that 2-shot today as well.
All right.
You know what that is, right? That's that camera where it shows both of us.
Oh,
so
okay.
it'll show full body
Okay.
too. I still haven't got that paint. I may go get paint today.
What color is it?
I've got it. I talked to Gabriel. I put it on the email list. It's something. They gave me the paint for there. They gave me the paint for here. I got the
really?
list. Yeah, I put it on there that I'm going to go get it at Sherman Williams.
Oh,
That's
me
what I
and
have.
Joe, because we'll have to putty it. So we're going to putty it, and then we're going to sand it down a little bit, and then we're going to paint it.
Hey guys, welcome to the show before the show. Are we on yet, Joe?
Yes.
All right, welcome to the show before the show. Do we have comments coming in yet?
We do.
Bendy, thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Bendy and Brenda and everybody. Welcome into the show before the show. Okay.
Be right back.
Where you going, Joe? Taking a break?
Hey guys, welcome into the show before the show. Appreciate everybody being here. Have some fun today. Good morning, Lizzie. She is doing her move today. Megan, of course, here filling in. Appreciate everybody. Go check out Bendy Joe Biden debate card. We're going to show that again today. I did see another one. Somebody else put out a presidential debate card. It was Laura Loomer.
Oh, she did?
Mm-hmm. She put one out as well.
I just want to know. I think you.
Why don't I hear? Can you put your mic?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have it over here.
No, that's all right.
Hello.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
I want to know what everybody thinks who the VP is going to be. That's like what I'm most excited about.
It was Vivek 2 days ago. All these insiders on podcast, Vivek. But all it takes is, and I watched, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, all the lemmings in local news forever. If one person says, then they start saying, sources say, you don't have a damn source, you're lying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can't be last. Oh my God, somebody got it. What?
But he said yesterday, he told Judge Janine, he said, it is not me.
About Vivek?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He said, he's like,
I didn't know
he did not
that.
ask me. He did not ask me to be.
Yeah, I know. It's not. I'm thinking more. Tim Scott's getting all the hype now,
That's my
but
boy.
that's not Donald Trump's style to let everybody know what's going to happen before.
Yeah.
He's a game player.
Mhm.
I mean, he's a great president. We've already realized that. So it's not an opinion; it's a fact. He was a great president.
Great president.
But
Best.
he plays freaking games,
Mhm.
whether people like it or not. I don't like it.
No, I can't. I can hardly take it. Like, I'm still in denial that this is really going to happen tonight.
Oh yeah, no,
debate.
it's happening. It's happening.
Jay, I'm totally with you on Tim Scott.
Sherry said just because some guy posted the Trump plane leaving Cleveland.
Yeah.
It is. And that's exactly what happens in media news. It's like, be right, don't be first. But everybody wants me to be first.
Yep.
Hey guys, is the show before the show. Appreciate you being here. Let me get this up.
Sherry, what did Robert put out? Did he put out a bingo card? Is that what you're saying?
He did too.
I don't know. Sherry said Robert put something out.
So we appreciate you guys being here. We get started about 8-ish. Hey, Joe, can you hit the music vibe again? I need to feel something different for our show before the show. I appreciate you.
It's like the same beat.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we hit it again? Hit it.
There we go. There's something. No, this is Casio hour.
Yeah, something else. I'm not feeling it today with the music.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's not bad. I've been driving a car that's on a regular recently that has Sirius radio that I hadn't listened to in a long time, and my channel 52 and my 53, my BPM, and that's like the best techno dance music ever. So maybe it's just you get used to steak and then you have bologna and you're like, oh.
I actually have satellite radio. I'm gonna have to try those out.
Up there you do?
No, in my car.
Oh yeah. Well, you've been playing music in the studio the last 2 days. Stuff from just like alternative. It's like my music.
That's my YouTube music channel.
I thought Ben, the owner of Wendy's, was the only guy that felt my vibe. And
alternative?
Well, it was alternative, but I mean, just going a lot of different parts, like even going like alternative. But then I was a big Southern California, early 2000s, like Blink 182,
Nirvana,
Lit. No, that was
Okay.
dark. This was more light fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a happy guy.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not dark and goth, and I'll be 70, 80 and want to rock out with Blink 182 and Angels and Airwaves and Lit. And it was that Southern California vibe.
I never got into
A little bit of Green Day. We were playing them yesterday. Anyway.
Oh, System of a Down was in there too.
Yeah.
I got
That's a little hard.
Yeah, I got.
Joe, was that your
pretty good mix?
Was that your jam too?
That is my mix.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aw, Megan, thank you.
What?
Said you look okay.
Oh,
too.
you do look really, really good. Megan is here thanking Megan. Oh, thank you, Megan. We appreciate it. By the way, have you seen the dad joke that Megan got me for Father's Day?
Mm-hmm. The book? Or the
It's
okay. I thought it was a book the whole
we'll play
time.
one really quick. Why should you play poker in the jungle? There's too many cheetahs.
Oh my gosh.
That kind of steals it. Well, I've always said, why aren't there any casinos in Africa? It's because there's too many cheetahs.
Oh yeah,
That's the one I first heard.
That's good.
And you did a lot of research today too. I love you and Lizzie coming in.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff to talk about.
We're getting really, really good here. And then
things.
it'll be great when we can like really pay Joe and Lizzie and you like and then you could come in like every day.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if we could do that?
and then your hair and makeup.
But I've
people-
also said if I get so busy, you and Lizzie could do your own dang show.
Mhm,
You and Lizzie rock.
mhm.
Like,
And Joe, we got Joe in the peanut gallery.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
always got me chiming in.
That's right.
I think I may need to go save our afternoon guy. He's failing and floundering because of his topics.
Oh, really?
Oh, Mark Kaysen.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, the guy is lost.
I know.
He's so lost.
I
He's
mean,
so lost.
he really is.
Mark, I know you listen to us every morning because we live rent free. I can help you. I need to like help his show, and I think I can get people to watch it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Lizzie and I, we'll pop on there, every once in a while, just for some entertainment. And I think Greg gets on there. Who else gets? There's a Ben.
Yeah,
He gets on, and we just to check in and see what the left has
Robert
to
says
say.
he's unhelpable.
it keeps me awake.
You know what, Robert? You could be right.
Oh yeah. Okay, Joe, let's go ahead and start the show, buddy.
Here we go.
Hey guys, welcome to cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust. Lizzie Sparks on assignment today. She is on assignment at her new house. She is moving. So we've got Projo and we've got Megan. Good morning, Megan. Welcome in.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here on debate day.
We love it.
I can tell you.
We love it when you're here because you fill in for me,
Mhm.
you fill in for Lizzie, and you do an amazing job. We love it. And you do great research as well when you're here.
Thank you.
Lizzie may have time to check in on the chat line. She always rocks and rolls with that. We'll see where that goes. But we have a lot coming up. Coming up at 8:30, Brad Young of Hairstyle Fisher and Young, Big Bad Brad with his big bad mic, coming in to talk about the Supreme Court. Now, Joe, you should appreciate me on this because this is my conspiracy theory. All the big news that you should be knowing about and talking about today should be what happened with the Supreme Court yesterday.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is a debate with good reason, but the Supreme Court screwed the United States of American citizens yesterday. I'm sorry, they did. That includes Republicans, and blew me the frick away when it comes to your First Amendment right speech online. And I'm afraid this is happening right before the election, just like it did in 2020.
Yeah.
We're going to get into this with Brad. Also, the Supreme Court, it's like, what the hell's going on? I think they're corrupted.
Oh, most definitely.
You did
It sure
research
seems
on
that
it.
way.
They also leaked an abortion ruling. I mean,
Again.
this stuff just does not happen. Lizzie says, yeah, the Supreme Court sucks. And they're allegedly 6'3" conservatives. Anybody with half a brain in politics or cares about this country and the judicial system understands that they're not. They're not. Bendy already said Barrett and Kavanaugh are so disappointing. They really are.
Yeah.
Bought and paid for. I don't know. And none of it makes sense. I kept waiting for Robert to say, selected, not elected.
That's true.
It's all a game.
Mhm.
Gary says, I got banned from Facebook yesterday. So we got that coming up.
Oh, no.
Lots of debate talk tonight. It is here. By the way, I'll be at Winty's tonight. I'm talking with Ben this morning. They're going to have the debate on at Winty.
Well, they are.
And they're a show sponsor.
Okay.
Yeah. But the problem is it's 8 to 9:30. That's getting out past my
know,
bedtime.
I
It's
know.
like too late. I don't know. I have to figure that out. But it's a great place to be with people watching the debate. And of course, Winties, who does everything they do for us. Tucker Carlson with a 5-minute complete undressing of a reporter, not from a physical, tangible standpoint, but from a mental, emotional, spiritual, and every other way possible. He undressed a reporter who learned a lesson the hard way.
Yes.
You will not want to miss this video, which we'll show you. We're going to show you the bingo card again that Bendy put on when it comes to the debate tonight. And by the way, Laura Loomer, who has another big show, love Laura Loomer, she posted a debate card after we did. Bendy, you may be ahead of the maybe ahead of the game because we posted
Bendy,
ours
the
yesterday.
trendsetter.
New polling, a Silverman polling, if you haven't seen it yet, will absolutely blow your mind. They don't say it's going to be a close election. And I know some people get upset. They told me yesterday, Vic, there's no such thing. Don't say, everybody, that it's too big to rig. We're going to be complacent. No, I say do it. Be positive. Be positive. 100%. Everything is moving forward. I turned over a new leaf, totally positive, in about December, January, by the way.
What is that?
I had too many people tell me I was too negative.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, everything has been positive since. And you know what? It's been good.
Yeah. You're feeling it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yes. Lizzie says, Winties is the bestest. And get your Joe Biden Bendy King debate card. You know what we should do? We're getting into all this. I know. Please like, subscribe, share the show. You know we're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, canceltheshow.com. News headlines, politics, political interviews of all kinds, local, state, national, and of course, our free-for-all, conspiracy theory, speculatory Fridays. We've got a lot to get into from that standpoint, but there was something crazy that happened yesterday. Did you see the sinkhole that happened in Illinois?
No.
Okay. We have video of the sinkhole. And Joe, I sent you 2 videos. The first one's video. This sinkhole happened at a soccer field over in Illinois. Thank God nobody was on the field at the time. These are fields that are played on all the time.
Oh my gosh.
You'll see it. Tricia says, Vic, feel the joy of life. No, I do. And real quick, Robert says the Supreme Court is no different than the mullahs in Iran. Okay, check out this video yesterday from Alton, Illinois soccer field. This is it happening live. Watch the ground in the field just collapse and cave in. Boom. The entire light pole into the ground. Surveillance video showing you that. I mean, that is absolutely insane. Watch it again. Blew my freaking mind. For our listeners on the podcast, it's a AstroTurf soccer field, and then all of a sudden, right in the middle of the field, a light pole just collapses down into the middle of a huge trench. And then we had drone. Yeah, we had drone video too that was showing people. I mean, this stuff happens. We've seen it. It's happened on highways. People have passed away in incidents like this where they go on. But we also had drone video that shows, and I think you'd have to say, I think it went through, Joe. Just let me know if you don't have it. But the drone video shows how huge this is. Thank God there was no game being played at the time.
Can you imagine?
Look how big that is.
Kids were running around on that field. When
you're on soccer fields all the time.
Oh my gosh.
$100-foot wide hole. Look at that. Okay, we don't have to see the whole thing there, but Joe, look at that, 100-foot wide hole. And these things happen. They happen. I mean, 100.
That is a huge hole.
Yeah, 100-foot wide hole. And you see the video that Joe is showing us right now. Yeah, I don't want to think. Did they find Hoffa? Okay. Yeah, if there were games there, it would have been a bunch of parents on those sidelines as well. Kids in that happened right where the sidelines were. That would have been where the people. God knows what could have happened, and there are people there all the time on those sidelines, walking.
God,
I want to know where the light pole went.
Oh, it was probably after where they picked it up, right?
Maybe
they had. This was later in the day.
Gosh, that is just.
I don't know, Joe. I'm looking for it right now as we look at the video.
I mean, it seems like, I don't know. Maybe they did get it out of there. I don't know.
They would have had to, but that video as you're playing just blew my freaking mind. It became a national story, which is why I'm showing it too. It was on national news, which
that's a nice field too. Go Alton.
I guess you would know. You're on soccer fields all the time.
Yes. It's a really nice field.
Thankfully, nobody was on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, that video is something else. So just, I mean, it's the things that we take. Oh yeah, a limestone mine collapsed.
When was that?
This happened yesterday, I thought, at Gordon Moore Park in Alton, Illinois.
No, the limestone mine?
Oh, the limestone mines. There's limestone down there, under there.
Oh.
And those things can collapse at any time. Like I said, I've seen it happen on the highways as well. And it's just bizarre that these things can happen. Just grateful, no injuries. I'd be looking all around that place. Can you really? Oh, too much rain lately? Is that why? I don't know. I just, anyway, I mean, you can't live life being afraid that something like that's going to happen all the time, but I thought it was interesting to show. So,
Well, I'm looking and it looks like it was survivable, right?
maybe
I think
you just don't know how you're sitting.
just
I don't think so, because the way that the light pole fell in, it was almost free fall. And that light pole is at least, what, 50 feet high, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did a light pole in the middle of why is there a light pole in the middle of a field?
No,
Well, it was in
but-
between the.
No, that was on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Where that
Oh.
collapsed was the sidelines where parents would have been, and they
Yeah.
would have collapsed down in. That's where all that happened.
Mm.
But anyway, just bizarre stuff that was going on there. This is cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust. Lizzie Sparks is moving today. She's off. We have Megan in today, Megan Marie Moret, and
Good morning.
Projo. How's life been again? You got your podcast up and running before we jump into the show. You want to let everybody know
Yes.
when are you going to have that back out?
I feel like it's like been this mystery because we recorded several and they're so good. And then what was it, week before last, that I was invited to go to a couple conferences with people like that are, really know their stuff in the human trafficking industry. And so I was invited to this law enforcement conference for 2 days. And I left and I was like, oh my gosh, I called Joe and tell you, and I'm like, I have to change things. Like I have to add stuff and I have to take stuff out because like, just when you think you may know a few things about this area of human trafficking, you don't. And so I just wanted it to be really good and be able to give the listeners amazing educational experience. And so
And tell people what the name of it is and what you're focusing
Invisible
on again.
Innocence. So it is coming. I just Joe and I are going to tweak it because I want it to be great. I want people to learn the most that they can, and I want them to be not entertained, because that's kind of an odd word to use when you're talking about this, but I want them to be interested and to want to keep coming back and listening. So it's coming, and it's coming soon, right, Joe?
Absolutely. As soon as we get it recorded.
Yeah.
No, we want to do that. We're grateful for that. We got the debate day coming up today, and we've got that all the way through 10 o'clock. Do we have Brad Young in already? Because I got a text from Brad. Okay. I'll tell him he can jump in whenever he wants to, because I know he's listening. Brad, just jump in whenever you want. If you're ready early, we'll do that. I promoted you at 9:30, but hell, we'll take you early too. Once again, coming up on the show, like, subscribe, share the show. Shocking numbers in regards to not one, but two different polling that has Donald Trump crushing Joe Biden in the election. Not even close. Not this 4% national that we're hearing from people, but crushing him. Tucker Carlson does an amazing job at answering a question that was false, an accusation that was false about him. And it's how you handle things. Like we say, be persistent, be polite, but be truthful. And it's all right to call somebody out if they're lying about you. You don't have to be a jerk. You don't have to yell at them, but you call them out. And that's exactly what he did, because they were trying the gotcha moment. And it's one of the worst things reporters can do, but that's what happens. I also saw, and we'll get into it later, I saw a post that Tucker Carlson was already confirming an interview with Julian Assange.
Really?
So I only saw it one place, so maybe it is happening, and that would be fantastic to see if we could get there.
That would be an amazing interview.
All right. Speaking of amazing, big bad Brad and his big bad Mike with his big bad brain. Try to say that fast. Brad Young of Hairstyle Fisher & Young. Hi, my friend. Good to see you.
Vic, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
I know. Thank you. Lizzie is off today moving, and we've got Megan Marie Moret in. I don't know if you've met Megan before. Have
No,
you?
I have
I have
never.
not. Good morning.
Oh, hi. Good morning to you.
And my friend, whenever there are legal issues when it comes to government, Supreme Court, from a political standpoint, we turn to you because you're the best that we know. So thank you so much for jumping in.
You're welcome.
Okay, you see things, and you don't jump off the ship when it comes to the conspiracy things, but you will address issues that are black and white. I was frustrated because the Supreme Court came out with some issues yesterday. I was frustrated with decisions, and that will happen with people, but I'm frustrated they did it when they did it right before the debate, because I think there should be a whole lot more emphasis being put on what happened yesterday when it came to a Supreme Court decision regarding our First Amendment rights of speech with social media.
Right.
What the hell happened? Can you like just get people filled up with this 6-3 decision by the
Sure.
Supreme Court?
Sure. The case was called Murthy versus U.S. And really what it started is Missouri versus Biden is how it started. And it was a number of states, but it was really led by Eric Schmidt before he became a U.S. senator. And the basis of the lawsuit was this, and it was astounding. It was that the Biden administration, and there was lots of evidence, particularly after Elon Musk purchased Twitter, there was lots of evidence where the Biden administration was instructing social media companies in terms of content that they would be eliminating. Now, I need to back up and explain how this works. Under the First Amendment, private companies are not bound by the First Amendment. So if a private company wants to censor someone's speech, they can do that because the First Amendment does not prohibit that. So if at my law firm, if I want to tell somebody, listen, if you're going to vote for so-and-so, if you're going to say this kind of speech, you're fired, that's legal in America because the First Amendment only applies to government action. Now, having said that, the argument in this lawsuit, and I thought it was a fabulous argument. I had been championing this lawsuit for years on KMOX, where I'm the legal analyst. And essentially the argument was this, and it was not just an argument, there was proof of this, that the Biden administration was attempting to get around, to skirt the First Amendment by instructing the media companies, social media companies like Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and others to censor speech. So therefore they're getting around the First Amendment because they're not doing the censoring. They're not squelching the political speech, but they're instructing social media companies to do it. Two of the greatest examples of this, even if we want to get beyond the COVID situation, but two of the other greatest examples of this, Vic, were the Hunter Biden laptop. You remember that there was a letter signed by like 30 different members of the intelligence community, including the two former national security advisors, who said this is pure Russian propaganda. There's nothing on this laptop that's Hunter Biden's. It's not legitimate at all. Of course, we found out in the Hunter Biden trial that the FBI testified it was 100% legitimate. But if you said anything about the Hunter Biden laptop, you were kicked off of social media. That was at the direction of the Biden administration. And also that the lab leak evidence now, I don't even call it a theory anymore. The proof is, the best proof we have is that COVID-19 came from a lab leak in Wuhan, China. If you said that during COVID, a lot of times you would be kicked off of social media. That was at the direction of the Biden administration. So the argument was, and I know it's complicated, but the argument was that because the Biden administration was instructing social media companies on what to do, therefore they became an agent of the federal government, and therefore the First Amendment applies. And as such, the Biden administration violated the First Amendment by kicking people off of social media via their instructions to the social media companies themselves.
Okay, Brad Young of Hairstyle Fisher & Young breaking down Supreme Court decisions yesterday, specifically when it came to what can happen on social media. Eric Schmidt jumped in, as you said, because there is no doubt, and we have viewers and listeners who said, it happened to me. My comments were being read. My comments were being deleted. I was put in jail, so to speak, on platforms. Is this going to happen again? Is it your opinion that this will or could very well happen again? If the White House determines that what you're saying is misinformation, because They don't have to prove that it's misinformation. They just have to say it's misinformation.
Correct. And let me get to the holding, and then I'll get to the application. So the court yesterday on a 6-3 decision did not address the merits of the litigation. All right. They took an easy way out, and it's called standing. In jurisprudence, in American jurisprudence, in order to be a litigant in a matter, you have to have a direct impact by whatever it is the government action is. So the state of Missouri and the states that were suing were not personally impacted by the Biden administration's actions. Now, one of the plaintiffs in the case, her name was Jill Hines. She was censored by COVID-19 under the COVID-19. She was saying things, and she was censored by social media. And the lawsuit proved that there was a relationship. But what Amy Coney Barrett and the other 5 members of the Supreme Court, it was a 6-3 decision, said that she could not specifically state that there was a direct action. In other words, she was being censored by the social media companies before there was evidence that the Biden administration instructed them to take that action. So therefore, she doesn't have standing. The states don't have standing. So they kicked it back to the lower courts without addressing the merits. Now, having said all of that, let me address your specific question. Can the Biden administration continue to do this? Well, the answer is yes, but a great big but. And
I hate butts.
Yeah, a great big but here. The great big but is this. Because of this litigation, and I applaud Eric Schmidt for filing this. I applaud Andrew Bailey for continuing this. And it's this. The Biden administration knows now that there is an entire network, a legal network out there that is ready to take action when there is any evidence that the Biden administration is instructing private companies, in essence, then violating the First Amendment, if it's at the direction of the Biden administration, to do this. So do I think that the Biden administration is going to stop trying to censor speech? No, not at all. But the beauty of this lawsuit, and I think the benefit of this litigation, is that the Biden administration knows that there are watchdogs that are watching out for this, and that the first hint, the first evidence that this is happening, you're going to see litigation filed instantly to support this lawsuit, to support this litigation that was decided yesterday. Now, keep in mind, this lawsuit is not over. The Supreme Court simply, what they call, remanded it back to the lower court for further development, further evidence, and any additional evidence that comes out could become a part of this ongoing litigation.
Yeah, Brad always breaks it down so well.
So, and didn't Justice Barrett, she basically said that it should not have gotten to the Supreme Court, and that she felt, in her opinion, she felt that there needed to be more proof that that the 2 states and the 5 social media users that they, had some sort of injury or something that they could prove.
Right.
That having their, their post taken down or whatever. But the tricky part about this is, we have these First Amendment rights. And given the platforms themselves, because they're private, they can go in and they can take down anything that they want to. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But the issue, I think, for most people, and the concerning thing for American citizens is, when the Biden administration is the direct cause of the, the pressure on the media platforms, that's where it gets concerning. So without that pressure coming from the Biden administration, maybe there's a little bit more leeway. But when it's directly coming from them, and again, Justice Barrett also said that she didn't see that there was actual proof that the Biden administration was responsible for this.
Right. For example, with this one individual, Jill Hines, Barrett, in her opinion, who wrote the opinion for the court, noticed and pointed out that there was evidence of censorship. And of course, it's not really censorship if it's coming from a private company, but there was evidence of action against Ms. Hines before there were any email exchanges or phone calls from the Biden administration. So according to Barrett, she said this shows that there's not a direct link between Ms. Hines being knocked off of social media platforms and actions by the Biden administration. So, and I understand, listen, standing is a very big thing, and I'm all in favor of it. We don't want courts giving what's called advisory opinions. We don't want that. So standing is a legitimate issue. I don't want to take away from that. In this instance, though, I think it was just a matter of opinion, because even if you've got evidence that Ms. Hines had been knocked off of social media platforms before the Biden administration intervened, that does not mean that then subsequent times that she was knocked off of platforms was done at the direction of the Biden administration. So that's where I disagree with Amy Coney Barrett. But listen, here's the bottom line. That this litigation has proven, regardless of whether this case, how it is determined at the Supreme Court, this litigation has proven that the Biden administration has been trying to squelch free speech. Bottom line, there's no debate about that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and also Amy Coney Barrett said to establish the standing, the plaintiffs must demonstrate a substantial risk that in the near future they will suffer an injury that is traceable to a government defendant. So that's just very concerning. So what kind of risk or injury would they be looking for for proof? What are they looking for?
Well, the risk or injury would be a permanent deplatforming is really what they're probably talking about, and in a permanent way, not just you're knocked off of a social media platform for a day, a week, a month, but a permanent or a semi-permanent deplatforming, and that's the harm that I think Amy Coney Barrett wants to see before she can grant standing. But listen, this actually also goes and leads us to a larger discussion here about the role of social media in this country. And Justice Thomas has written in prior decisions that he really sees social media today as being more akin to, say, the gas company or the electric company, where it is a monopoly that needs to be regulated in terms of how it interacts with the public. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not if you go down that road, I've got better ways. I got better ideas. I know that sounds the height of hubris to say I've got better ideas than Justice Thomas, but I'm not so sure that I want social media regulated like a monopoly, like a public service entity. But I think a better way, because listen, there's no question that conservatives in general and other folks who are expressing ideas in addition to conservatives are being punished on social media, because the social media companies are by and large run by those who are on either the left or the far left. I mean, basically the management of social media companies today is like the Indy 500. Okay. They're going as fast as they can, doing nothing but turning to the left. Mm-hmm. So because of that, I've been kicked off. I was kicked off of YouTube once, and I was hosting a show on the radio. I was filling in host, and I didn't even say anything. I asked questions. I was asking questions of a person who was a physician, and I said, "Is it the case that the COVID virus is smaller? The particles are smaller than the masks." So therefore, if the particles are smaller than the webbing in the mask, is it the case that masks lack sufficient coverage in order to prevent COVID from passing through the mask? And that was enough. Somebody complained, and I was kicked off of YouTube.
Hey, congratulations! Welcome to the club.
That's right. We're in the club, right? So that's my point. Is that popular speech doesn't need protection. It's unpopular speech needs protection. All right. And even speech that we can all agree is reprehensible. The Ku Klux Klan in 1978 was speaking in Skokie, Illinois, and the ACLU, in a brief moment of brilliance, came to their defense, stating that even the Ku Klux Klan's views, as reprehensible as they are, deserve protection. And that's true. I don't agree with anything that the Ku Klux Klan says. Their views are reprehensible, and yet even reprehensible speech needs protection because of this point. If reprehensible speech can be prohibited, then that is subjective. And if tomorrow, say, for example, people find Christianity to be reprehensible, then Christianity could be banned from media. If people think that saying that smaller government and a greater national defense is necessary but reprehensible, then that speech could be banned. So that's why even reprehensible speech must have protection under the First Amendment, because just because something's not reprehensible today does not mean that it won't be considered reprehensible tomorrow.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the part that's really scary for us is that people can talk about how they're going to try to regulate and do all these things on social media platforms. However, it's only going to be one side that's going to be regulated or watched. Just like, in the COVID-19 pandemic, it's the same exact thing. So who was in charge of, regulating if something was, misinformation? Who was in charge of, making sure that conservatives didn't say, hey, you might want to think twice about taking the jab, so it's definitely one-sided. And I think that that's why it is so frustrating to see something like this kind of go to the wayside. And I understand that there's a lot of, different points to this, and there needs to be more proof and, risk and injury and all these things. But it is obvious what has happened in the last 4 years. And that is that there is only one side of the street that's being censored. And
Exactly.
And that's, that's scary. And what's the resolution for that?
Well, the resolution, I'm going to make this, because I hate to do deep dives on media, because sometimes we lose people and then the eyes start rolling in the back of their heads. Yeah. But I'll break it down very simply. I think the solution to this is as follows. There's a series of Supreme Court cases in the 40s, 50s, and 60s dealing with whether malls, remember malls, that we used to have malls in this country? I live not too far from the Chesterfield Mall. And right now, the last time I was there, there was a big tumbleweed that was blowing in front of me when I walked into the mall. So we used to have malls. And the question was, could people exercise their free speech at a mall? A mall is private property. It's owned by a company. And the company said, listen, we don't want you protesting in here. We don't want you exercising your free speech in here. This is private property. Well, there were a number of cases in that 40s, 50s, and 60s timeframe that held, particularly in small towns, that the mall was the quintessential marketplace of ideas. The mall was the only location in that particular town where people could exchange ideas. So even though the mall was private property, and even though the First Amendment does not apply to private ownership, in those situations, when that's the only avenue for the exchange of ideas, or the primary avenue for the exchange of ideas, then the First Amendment applies, and you cannot squelch speech rights. I think the same applies to social media. If you look at social media today, social media is the dominant, the primary place where people exchange ideas. And so I think that is a better way of that so-called regulating social media companies, rather than calling them like the power companies or the gas companies. And then you've got overt government involvement in social media. I don't like that. Yeah. I think the better idea is to say that is the quintessential place for the exchange of ideas. And if these private companies who make a lot of money on these exchange of ideas want to regulate speech and censor speech, then they cannot do so, because this is the dominant primary location for the exchange of ideas, and therefore the First Amendment applies to them. I think that's a much better rationale to get to solve this problem than calling them basically monopolies that will be regulated by the government.
Brad, it's easy for us to get emotional over decisions. You look at it from the black and white letter of the law, and I've talked to you about several cases. I'm curious, your personal opinion on how the court ruled on this in a 6-3 manner, the opposite way of conservative.
Yeah, I don't like. I would have been in the minority. I would have objected to this. I would not have been in the majority, because listen, the degree of standing, the whole decision is based on standing, right? So to me, this was a dodge. This was a way to say Jill Hines, who demonstrated that she was damaged as a result of government action. But Amy Coney Barrett said, well, it wasn't enough damage. All right. I would have disagreed with that. Any damage is sufficient to show standing, more than what's called de minimis standing. For example, very quickly, during the Vietnam War, lots of people filed lawsuits to block the federal government from engaging in the Vietnam War. And the courts all said the exact same thing. You don't have standing, because your only standing is that you're a taxpayer, and the amount of money that you pay in taxes is so minuscule compared to what money's being spent in Vietnam that that's not sufficient damage, and therefore you don't have standing. But this is far more damaging than the tax argument during the Vietnam War, because Jill Hines was definitely knocked off of and deplatformed because of her views in COVID. So this to me was a way for the court to say, we're going to be reaching some big decisions here this term. We don't want this to be one of them. And that's a crime, because the First Amendment protections, I think, are one of the virtually the greatest fears or concerns that we have in this country. A government that can control what we speak is a government that can control what we think. I mean, just read 1984.
Wow.
All right. So I can't think of a bigger issue today than having and should the federal government be influencing and directing and controlling literally how we think and exchange ideas on social media. So I think this is of paramount importance. And I would have clearly wanted to address the merits. And the merits to me are clear that the Biden administration violated the First Amendment. And let me give you a very quick example. If, for example, if the government is investigating the mafia, all right, and they get an informant that has connections in the mafia, and the federal government pays that informant to go in and obtain evidence, then anyone who's ever watched Law and Order knows, okay, you have to have a warrant. You can't enter a residence without a warrant. You can't take evidence from a crime scene without a warrant before there's an arrest made. So for all of those reasons, then that informant is an agent of the federal government when the government pays that agent to go in and do activities investigating the mafia. This is no different. Okay, the federal government paid money to social media companies, 38 million alone to Twitter, paid money to social media companies to direct and control what speech that they allowed on their social media platforms. To me, that's outrageous. It's clear evidence of violation of the First Amendment, and the Supreme Court had an opportunity to stop it, and they dropped the ball.
Yeah. Well, and Amy Coney Barrett, she did say, and she admitted that the federal officials concerned about the spread of misinformation on social media communicated extensively with the platforms about their content moderation efforts. So you do have Big Brother coming in, and everyone knows it. So how do you then how do you make a judgment on a case where you know that the federal government is getting involved and pressuring media platforms to basically put out only one side of the story and to not allow other people their First Amendment rights, but then say, well, if you could have proved that it was going to, that you were going to be worse off in the future because of them taking your post down, or, saying that, you have warnings or whatever they do, it just does not seem fair.
No, it's not fair at all. It is not fair at all. But here is the concerns. Again, I don't just give one side of the issue, even when I disagree with an opinion, I will give you the arguments of the other side. And in this instance, if you look at oral arguments, when this case was up at oral argument, the liberal justices and even Brett Kavanaugh, who's not a liberal justice, but in this instance, they were concerned that a holding in favor of the plaintiffs here, holding that the federal government, the Biden administration, violated the First Amendment. Their concern is that type of a holding would impede the federal government's ability to get information on platforms that would have nothing to do with anything political. Here's information about tornadoes. Here's information about flooding. Here's information about emergency preparedness. Okay, I'm trying to think of things that are completely non-political here. And their concern is that a holding that the government cannot influence what social media says or does would impede the ability of the federal government to push out legitimate information. Okay. Well, I think that's a preposterous idea, because it's the slippery slope. I'm never a proponent of the slippery slope argument, because the slippery slope argument says the act that you take today is going to lead to damage down the road. But you can always stop that rock from falling down the cliff by building another impediment before it falls off the cliff. So I'm never that argument. That was a slippery slope argument. It was wrong in oral argument. It's wrong today. But I'm thrilled, though, even though this case was not a win, I'm thrilled that it highlighted the hypocrisy of the Biden administration by stating that it's Trump that's against democracy. Democracy is literally on the ballot in November, and if you vote for Donald Trump, you're voting against democracy. But this is the party, this is the ideology that wants to block people's views from social media. How is that democratic? And this is also the party that literally tried to remove a candidate from being considered for office in Colorado and Maine. And there's nothing more anti-democratic than saying you cannot vote for this person. That is the height of anti-democratic activities, and yet they're the party that's claiming that democracy is on the ballot in November.
Speak it, Brad Young of Hairstyle Fisher and Young. We appreciate you doing it, what you do, and the way that you do it. We've had you for a bunch of time already. I've got to ask you about this.
Sure.
What the hell was up with the Supreme Court yesterday leaking a decision when it came to abortion? It just seemed like an abomination to me yesterday, everything that was going on there. I do feel better about the social media decision after you explained it, even though I don't like how they ruled and what it sent in the messaging. But how could a brief be leaked on abortion?
Well, the question,
why is it always abortion?
I know.
Why is it always that topic that's getting leaked?
Well, first of all, we never did find out how the Dobbs decision got leaked. We never did.
And won't.
And we'll never know. You'll never know until somebody does a deathbed confession, 30 years from now. You're never going to know this because, and this is again, people don't understand this, but the reason why we don't know about Dobbs and how it got leaked was because of separation of powers. The FBI could not come in and investigate the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court is its own branch of government. And so because the FBI is in the executive branch, the Supreme Court is in the judicial branch, the only way that the FBI could investigate it was if the Supreme Court said to the FBI, we're going to voluntarily allow you to come in and investigate. And of course, they're never going to do that. Who opens their door to the FBI and says, come on in, take a look around, take some photographs? Okay, nobody does that, not even the Supreme Court. So there was never going to be an investigation because they were doing it internally. And I'm guessing they had some guy named Earl, who's like 92, all right, and who's got really thick Coke bottle glasses. And they said, hey, Earl, look around and see if you can find out who leaked the Dobbs decision. And of course, he doesn't even have a password to the computer system. So there was never going to be an answer. But the reason why that's important here is because, as you've already pointed out, Megan, the other decision that's been leaked also deals with abortion. So there's obviously someone at the Supreme Court who's trying to influence the court's decisions when it comes to abortion, and they're doing it by leaking these decisions. It might be the exact same person. Of course, the court says, oops, sorry, it was inadvertent, but I really do question whether this was inadvertent. But listen, I don't know how much time we got left, but there's an extremely important case at the court. They're probably going to issue the opinion this Friday. Nobody's talking about it. And it deals with whether or not the January 6 rioters, they were rioters, they're not insurrectionists, but whether the January 6 rioters can be prosecuted under the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Again, I know that sounds obtuse, but this could literally change the trajectory of how the Democrats have been persecuting individuals who were right. They were clearly rioters. They were clearly violating the law, but they were not trying to overthrow the government. And this decision from the Supreme Court could change all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you expect that when?
Friday.
I expect it this Friday. And here's the thing. Let me show you the insanity of what the lawfare that's been going on in this country. The Justice Department used the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which, again, nobody's ever heard of it. I mean, I've heard of it, but most people have never heard of it. Sarbanes-Oxley was a law that was passed to help regulate the banking industry. It deals with banking law. It deals with financial transactions. All right. But that's the best thing that the federal prosecutors could come up with to argue that those who were rioting on January 6th we're trying to literally block the activities of government. And there's a 2-word phrase in the Sarbanes-Oxley Act that the courts have used to prosecute not only most of the rioters, but also it's being used to prosecute former President Trump in his Washington, D.C. trial. And the question becomes, can you use a law that the entire act from the beginning to the end is for dealing with financial transactions? Can you twist that to use that law to prosecute individuals who were rioting on federal property? That's the question that's before the court. And if the court, which I think they will, that's why this decision keeps getting delayed. The court's going to rule probably 6-3, maybe 5-4, that the Sarbanes-Oxley Act cannot be used to prosecute the January 6 rioters. When that happens, then all of the convictions that have been occurring since January 6 will be overturned.
And President Trump, if he is the president, would not have to do anything by that with him coming into office.
Well, it really doesn't matter whether he's elected or not, because if the court rules that Sarbanes-Oxley Act cannot be used for this, then most of the charges against him would have to be dropped immediately in the Washington, D.C. criminal case.
Yeah, and that is also in the Supreme Court, is them trying to criminalize, Trump's public statements. And so his First Amendment rights, they're being violated as well. And they try to get him on these technicalities of the specific words that he used, made basically the insurrection happen. And so what they keep talking about First Amendment rights. And so when do you think that this will be, done? And do you think that there'll ever be a resolution to this for him being, basically them just keep trying to criminalize him for speaking on matters that in the Constitution he has rights to speak on.
Right.
And they yank that from him. Yeah.
The lawfare against Donald Trump will continue as long as Donald Trump can possibly run for office.
Of course.
If he's reelected, after that point, then he cannot be reelected again. Constitution, of course, limits a president to 2 terms. If he's reelected, then the lawfare against him will stop. It won't stop while he's in office, because then it'll be done in order to try to impeach him again. Again, if he makes a phone call to somebody, they're going to file articles of impeachment. So that will continue as long as he's president. But once you reach a point where he cannot run for office again, the lawfare will stop, because that's the entire purpose of the lawfare, is to keep him out of office.
That's what it's always been about, as we've talked about from the get-go. Appreciate you bringing up what we had going on Friday. I had not seen that, Brad, but this is what you do all the time. By the way, can you remind everybody where you are and how they can find you on social media to get all of your information, as much as Brad they can take?
Well, I got to tell you, as much as I am a proponent of social media, I have no social media presence. And I'll be honest with you. The reason is I just don't have time. I've got a law firm to run. I've got a law practice to run. I do a lot of this on media that obviously is unpaid. So I just have zero time for social media. So it's not because I don't know how. I built my first computer, by the way. So it's literally a time issue, and I have no social media presence at all. So having said that, though, I am on KMOX. I've got a show on Wednesday nights when there's not Cardinals baseball from 8 to 10 p.m. over on KMOX 1120 a.m., or you can catch it online, of course, KMOX.com. And I'm on KMOX in 97.1, filling in for various hosts throughout the day, throughout the week when they're off, and I can fit it into my busy schedule.
Is Trump going to do any jail time?
No,
I don't think so.
no, he's not. He's not. Even with Marshawn here, the judicial system in New York, even as biased as it is, would literally be up in arms for an individual who was convicted of a crime where there's no victim. There is literally no victim here. No one has been harmed. No one's been damaged. No gun was used. There's no pre-existing convictions. There's no prior incidences of anything violent in any way. No, if he's assigned to go to Rikers, even New York legal system will uprise over that.
Brad, we love you, man. Anything else you want to let our viewers know before you get out of here today?
No, just that watch for this Sarbanes-Oxley decision. It should come out this Friday. I'm really anticipating it this Friday morning. This will be the last decision. They save the big ones for last. This has been a sleeper case. Media hasn't been covering it, but I'm going to tell you, the mainstream left-wing media is going to go bananas if this case overturns these convictions, and I think properly so. But they're going to say, where did this come from? Because this has been a sleeper issue now for the last 12 months.
How are you spelling that? Because I'm trying to write it in right now because I'd never heard of it, Brad.
Yeah, Sarbanes, Sarbanes hyphen Oxley, Oxley. That's the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, and that case, the case dealing with that, will be coming out, I anticipate, this Friday morning at 9:00 a.m. Central.
Brad Young, big bad Brad with his big bad brain and his big bad mic. You sound the best, by the way. You know what you're doing. Catch him on CamWex. Hey, man, we love you. You've always been there for us at Cancel This from the get-go. Thank you. Thank you so much. And, of course, you have a lot of fans that love listening to you.
All right. Thank you. Great to talk to you both.
You
all right,
too.
Brad Young.
Have a good day.
Yeah, the knowledge that comes forth from that man is amazing all the time. It really is. And he's been on so many issues going way back to Kim Gardner. Way back to Kim Gardner. So we appreciate we get a chance to do that. He made me feel better about what's happening with social media, that at least puts the White House on guard, on notice. But still, you're supposed to have a 6-3 advantage in the Supreme Court right now, and it went 6-3 against you.
Yes.
If you're, quote, a conservative. That's a problem, a big problem to me. And of course, we'll be looking to see what happens on Friday. I'm glad that he thinks that that's going to be in favor of J6 rioters, not J6 insurrectionists.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be key?
Gosh.
And of course, if it comes out on a Friday, you know what Friday is, Megan, don't you? It's the news dump day.
Oh, the free-for-all.
And it's the day after the debate.
Yep. So they're going to try and talk about that.
And then nobody hears about it and it just goes away. Just like today, I felt the decision yesterday from the Supreme Court was a big one when it came to monitoring your comments, or at least the White House having that ability to do it again and call it misinformation and not have to prove it. And the big story today is the debate.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow will be the post debate, not only the post debate, but it's a Friday news dump day when you go into the weekend. Do you see how this stuff lines up? Am I that much of a conspiracy theorist for saying that?
You're exactly right. I think it's very well planned, and who it serves is not the right. It's not the right side. That's for sure. But I do think it's interesting to find out how that court case is going to turn out tomorrow. I think that it's been way too long. The whole J6 thing, it's just gone on way too long. And just like with the Trump trial, this last one, it just really, my faith in our judicial system is just questionable. I mean, that you've got this whole J6 thing. It's just the things that are happening should not be happening in a free country. They just shouldn't.
Well, I kept waiting for Projo to jump up and ask a question about the future, because Joe was seriously concerned yesterday about platforms and podcasts and people putting information out when it comes to what the White House could classify as misinformation, even though they're being watched by conservative causes. By the way, Eric Schmidt started that lawsuit. Andrew Bailey, give him credit because he pushed through it as well, the current attorney general. They pushed through it, but Joe you're still worried about this whole situation.
I am worried. However, him saying, that there was watchdogs, and I think that the Biden administration had better watch their P's and Q's if they're going to enforce, or if they're going to use this to their advantage. They had better be really careful, because there's a lot of legalities that come with it.
Yeah, there may be. I see what you're saying. So,
but I feel like they get around all of the legalities
so far.
I really do. I don't think that anything is ever impressed upon them.
It's definitely a concern.
Not with the DOJ doing what they're doing right now.
Because if you think about it, all they're going to do is it's just going to be, everything's going to be caught in litigation for years. If they do stuff, they can do it, but they're going to suffer the repercussions maybe a year or two down the road, because nothing's going to get handled right away. The court system's going to get just bombarded with stuff over this.
Well, it possibly could. We just want to thank our sponsors, by the way, too. That's Complete Auto Body Repair. Complete Auto Body Repair. Anything with your vehicle in the St. Louis metropolitan area, 5 different locations, A to Z. If it goes wrong, you go there. If you want to get checked out, you go there. If you need to get some sort of testing, you go there. 314-731-7999. 314-731-7999. And when you go there, tell them you appreciate them sponsoring Cancel This. That helps us. You help us out by going there as well. Also, you can check them out at completeab.com. They have tons of jobs, not just for mechanics. And of course, I know 2 people said, yeah, I would love to work there, tried to work there. They just didn't have the specific job. But others I know who've worked there got hired and love it. And the people love the atmosphere, the culture that Curtis Sparks and crew have set there. CompleteAB.com. They're not going to nickel and dime you. They're going to tell you if you need something. They're going to tell you if you don't. And of course, they want you to return. And we all know if you have a bad experience somewhere, you're not going to go back. You're going to find somewhere else. Complete Auto Body and Repair. Also, when it comes to personal injury, there's nobody better to go to than David Gregory, the conservativeinjurylawyer.com, conservativeinjurylawyer.com. You can give them a call at 314-619-4230. We're talking anything with personal injury. That also includes your conservative rights, your religious rights. Dave is also the guy that was 7 for 7, getting people their jobs offered back to them when they refused to take that, what we call cupcake in their arm during the pandemic. Dave is the best you're going to find. And he specializes when it comes to accidents, cars, motorcycles, trucking, any of those sorts of things. Why do I know? Not just because he told me, because I used him not once, but twice. And he called me up about a year later and said, oh yeah, by the way, I found a legal term where we can get you more compensation. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. How'd you know that? He's like, well, Vic, I'm an accountant. I was also a state rep. And now he's running for state senate. You've seen him on our show, David Gregory, not afraid to call himself the conservative injury lawyer. And by the way, if you have friends or family, tell them about him. All you have to do is give him a call. You're not locked in by giving him a call. And he's also going to lay back his percentage points of what the attorney would normally get when they get your compensation, because you would call and say, from Cancel This. That's another way that he's trying to support here. He comes in and advertises with us. And then, of course, the more people that go to him, the longer he stays with us. And we need all the support. We are grateful for that. WeQuipUSA.com. If you're looking to rent an item, not buy it, and you need something quick, or you want to rent your own items, make a little cash on the side, WeQuipUSA.com has a very cool site that connects you with other people in your community. And it's all backed by insurance. And they also will rent rooms. They will promote your businesses. They will promote you. WeQuipUSA.com. Once again, WeQuipUSA.com. And if you're looking for a place to watch the debate tonight, Wenty's in the Chesterfield Valley, Wenty's in Defiance. They're going to have the debate on, your debate home, on top of the great food and menu selections that they have. I always say it, Megan. Talk to 7 different people. You'll find 7 different favorite food items that they have at Wenty's. Of course, Marla putting together the best menus that she can, because she loves her food and she loves to make sure that people are eating the best that they can. Great time, great atmosphere. And of course, on the weekends, all kinds of great entertainment. This is cancelthisshow.com. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Projo alongside Megan Marie Moret in today for Lizzie. Lizzie is chiming in on the People's platform, but she's also trying to move. And we all know what a stressful time that can be. I can't believe she was here yesterday. And
I
will be here
know.
tomorrow in the middle of a move at the same point in time.
And
But
then
she will be.
going home to pack, and she's something else, that Lizzie.
And by the way, we appreciate everybody who likes, subscribes, shares our shows, who shares possible supporters, who shares possible advertisers as well. If you have ideas, you can always contact us at vic@cancelthisshow.com or Lizzie@cancelthisshow.com. And then we will do everything that we possibly can to catch up with those people. Okay, it is a debate Thursday, and we've got a lot to get into it. Biden versus Trump tonight. And this is, and I'm trying to be as serious as I possibly can, but this is an idea, Joe, and you can pop up the videos. We've got 2 of them of how the debate's going to go tonight.
Mm-hmm.
CNN is in charge of this. They've already said Trump's at a disadvantage. CNN actually came out and said this publicly. Also, the Trump team says they know they're at a disadvantage. Joe Biden's disappeared for a week, getting all kinds of shots. The debate will be rigged. And we've got video proof of that we'll show right now when Joe pops up the video in regards to what's going to happen tonight. I guess you expect this to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I'm excited. I'm not sure when Trump's camp says that he's at a disadvantage. I'm not sure that I agree with that. I think that just by him agreeing to do this debate in the first place is a huge advantage for him, because they were not expecting him to go along with all of their conditions and just show up. And I mean, it's obvious that the Biden camp is scared to death. They've got that guy, in a hangar, out at Camp David, and they're, bringing like contraptions in and people in, and who knows what they're doing with this guy. And I feel like Trump's just going to show up. I'm sure that, he's been schooled on, hey, this would probably be the best way to handle these topics. This is probably going to be, an advantage for you if you remain calm, act like a gentleman, all of those things. So I feel like he's just going to go, he's going to stroll in there. He's going to do his thing. And, they're going to cut his mic, which is fine because he has awesome faces. He is like the best face maker. So, he'll be up there going, rolling his eyes and, doing everything else while Biden's talking. So I don't know. I don't know that he's going to be at a disadvantage. I think tonight is going to really be a tell-all of Biden's state of mind, his cognitive disability, and hopefully people will see that.
Megan, he's at a disadvantage, and we have video proof of the 2 videos that we have that we're going to show you. Here's video of tonight's CNN debate.
First question tonight goes to Mr. Frog.
Mr. Frog, why are you so evil? You have 1 second to respond.
Hello, Time's up, plus you're wrong. The next question is for our beloved and highly intelligent president. Why are you so amazing? You have unlimited time to respond.
Yep, they're CNN tonight. That's the example.
Yeah. Hey,
they're not going to treat Donald Trump right. There's no way. Jake Tapper?
Well, Jake Tapper, he's on thin ice. Did you guys see what I sent you last night?
I did. Can you remind our viewers that?
So CNN and Jake Tapper, there's this whole huge lawsuit coming out. And yesterday I thought it was really interesting because the heat is really on Jake Tapper right now for him saying some things that he should not have said in a prior interview in the past. And so they were kind of wondering, if he was going to be able to make it to today. And I was like, how convenient. Maybe they're going to
he's called Trump Hitler.
Yeah. Well, he's just an idiot. I mean, I don't know what else to say about the guy. He's just an idiot. And we didn't even talk about how they loosened Trump's gag order too.
Yeah, they loosened it in New York just a little bit.
Yeah. And so I thought, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, why now? Like, are they just wanting Trump to show up and just start, cackling about the witnesses and all of the things now that he's allowed to talk about? Like, do they want him to hang himself? Like what? All of these little things that are happening right before the debate.
Well, we also have exclusive video. This is exclusive video of Jake Tapper and CNN getting ready for the debate tonight.
Hello and welcome to the first 2024 presidential debate hosted by CNN. I am Jake Tapper, and somewhere around here is my colleague, Dana Bash. I'd like to set the ground rules to this debate. First off, Biden is allowed to speak whenever he wishes. We will have commercial breaks whenever Biden feels the urge so that his needs can be taken care of. This may or may not include naps, energy boosts, or a snack such as ice cream. On the other hand, Trump is not allowed to speak unless spoken to, and if he interrupts Joe speaking, we're automatically going to deduct 10 points from Trump and Door. As the hall moderator of this debate, I can call it off at any moment and declare it a complete victory for Biden. Where did Trump go? He was just here. Hello and welcome.
Yeah, that's what we hope happens tonight, at least at the end.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, Megan. I disagree with you. I think the fix is in against Donald Trump tonight.
You do?
I've been saying it for a month since this idiotic decision to debate him came up.
What could be more advantageous than him going, and if he shows up in the right frame of mind, it shows up and is presidential and stands there and talks to a box of rocks.
But he's not going to be a box of rocks. He's not going to be allowed to respond, and his mic's going to be cut off.
It's 90 minutes.
And he's going to sit there. I don't know. He's going to sit there, Megan, and he's going to hear lie, and I hope. Now, his campaign manager for Donald Trump said that he's not going to be enticed tonight. You're going to see the most, quote, presidential, relaxed Donald Trump that you've ever seen. That's what they're saying, at least publicly right now. But do you know, and in your own life, think about this, all of you, when you're sitting with somebody and you know they're lying and they're telling somebody else, and this is why Donald Trump had such a bad debate with Biden in 2020, in my humble opinion, because he was so irate at all the lie. He could not believe the bullshit that was coming out of Biden's mouth, but he had to sit there and take it. Yes, we're going to see a better Trump, but he can't win anything tonight.
Well,
I don't think there's anything for Trump to win,
well, there's
only for him to lose, and the deck is stacked against him.
I don't know, because there's two sides to Joe Biden, and one of them is this.
That's not going to be him tonight.
Okay, right. But then the other side is him, and he's like this, and his hands are frozen, and he just yells and screams, and then whispers, and then he yells and screams, and then he rambles about. He can't help himself, even when he's jacked up on whatever they give him. The guy goes off on rants and tangents about cannibals and things that did not happen. Even when he seems alert, he's still crazy. He talks craziness. So I think that he'll either look like Sleepy Joe or he's going to look like angry, irate Joe.
I disagree.
That is talking
I love
about,
you, and you are a genius. But
Thank
I
you.
disagree.
Did everybody hear
And
that?
I disagree because he's had a week to prepare. Yes, he refused the drug test.
He's had, since the day Trump agreed to do this, he's had this time to prepare.
Well, but he disappeared for a week, and there's a reason. That's not just for media show.
Well,
they refused to do any drug testing. Trump wanted to do it. The Biden camp officially came out and refused to do any drug testing. He knows the questions. He knows exactly how he's going to respond. He has been coached. Even though this guy is a cognitive piece of jello, just sitting there, if you move the dish, it just shakes around a little bit. He's still going to be able to recite whatever he needs to recite.
Right. And truly,
it's Trump versus Dana, Jake, Biden, prompters or mics, time clocks, you name it.
Well, I think that the only part that could trip Trump up is that I truly believe that Biden and his camp, they made up all the questions and they gave them to CNN. So
well, Brenda says Trump knows the questions too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know. I mean, nothing about this is fair for Trump. Absolutely nothing.
But you still think it's good?
Absolutely. I think that I think he's going to be a lot wiser than he has been in the past. And I think that he knows what to do. I think that his people are just as intelligent as, Biden's people. They're not really intelligent, but they think they are. But I think that they've been watching and they know exactly what to do. I really do. I'm hopeful. I really am. I've been excited for this. I think that this could
I know
be
you have.
great.
I have not been excited for this because I don't think there's anything Trump can win out of it, but you have been excited. I have to give you that.
I don't even know if it's a win. November is going to be the decider about the win, but what I want him to be able to do is walk out of there. The guy, again, everybody forgets people have probably already forgotten that, he has not even been sentenced yet for 34 felonies.
July 11th.
Right. So he has not even been sentenced for that yet. He makes it all the way through that. All of the other goofball, cockamamie court cases in the past year. And now he's going to walk in with his head up and show who he is and look at everything that you've done to me, everything that you've put me through. And I'm going to stand here and I'm going to look you face to face and I'm going to ask you questions and I want some answers. And I hope that he does not give the left any extra ammunition. Oh, look at him. He's unhinged. Oh, look at him. He's crazy. Oh, like all of that. I hope that he can come in and the left cannot say. They might not like what he has to say, but how he says it is going to be huge for him.
Even if Trump wins, the media will not give him credit. Just remember that. They will not give him credit. He will not get credit. There's no way they can do it. Just like they couldn't have the clown circus court that they had in New York and not find him guilty. There is not a debate with these rules that's happening for Donald Trump to have a chance. He will not be given any credit, even if he is absolutely amazing. Joe Biden, even if he is just barely average, will be promoted as the savior of the country. the man that can lead this team, that can lead the Americans into the Olympics and win against all the other countries. It's going to be one of those situations. It's going to be a win-win for the Gipper, for the Bidens, and for America, and for Democrats. It's all a sham. Now, people will say, Vic, it's a sham too, because it's already been selected. I don't know what Trump can win tonight.
Yeah, well, and you're right.
I
So
just don't.
the fake news media will not ever say if Joe Biden is a disaster tonight. And if Trump's amazing, they will not say. It's going to be, like you said, Biden's going to be the savior. However, what I'm hoping is that if there are any Democrats that are watching that have any brain cells left, that maybe they will go.
I love it. You're already getting to my next point.
Yeah. Okay, maybe, hey, okay, look, he's not that bad. Okay, so who do I want? And I'm not, a proponent of anyone getting hurt. However, I have to say that there's a piece of me that would absolutely love nothing more than to watch Biden walk up tonight to try to get up to that podium and maybe just take a fall.
I know.
I mean, how amazing would that be?
And
Proof's in the pudding.
And I'd like to win the lottery tonight too, or tomorrow night.
Well, hey, it could happen.
Yeah, it could
Come
happen.
on.
So you're saying there's a chance.
If he takes a fall, they'll start it over, and then because
That's the other
there'll be a
situation.
delay, and they'll just start it over.
Yep. And that's why a while back I was saying to you, like, I feel like all of these conditions are for that reason, so that they can edit, so that they can put a delay on everything.
Joe, can you remind people how that's going to work tonight with the delay and the editing? Because I know you were very concerned about this as well when we were talking about how this debate is actually going to take place tonight.
Live TV always has a delay, because in case they have to censor somebody, maybe somebody accidentally cussed or something, they always have a delay. I have a feeling this is going to be even more delayed, so they have time to switch things around. I guarantee they have a crack team of editors and everybody in there, censors, whatever they probably even have AI.
That's what I said. You thought I was crazy.
I do.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I do. I think that they're going to do anything they can to make this guy, if he says the wrong thing, they'll either cut it out or they're going to edit it. Because all they need is 3 seconds to do something like that. I mean, think about it.
Yeah, it is possible. Here's some of the other specifics about the debate tonight. Microphones are going to be muted unless a candidate is directed to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get to speak unless they give you your specific time.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to see a debate with Trump and Biden after 2020, because what I watched was the worst debate in the history of mankind. Chris Matthews had no direction, no control. Trump was unhinged. Biden was lying. And I mean, like 90% of what Biden said was a lie. And it was all proven after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, that's just, if you go back and you watch that debate, that the amount of lying that guy had the audacity to do on a public stage like that just absolutely blows my mind. And now it's all out there. I mean, all of it was a lie.
And here's why Biden had to go away for a week to memorize, to come up with something to do. Not only, I mean, we'll talk about the drugs, but candidates are not allowed to bring any pre-written notes, any scripts, props. They're going to receive a pen, a piece of paper, and a water when they get there. And I doubt we're going to see Biden walk to the stage.
I wouldn't trust that water.
Are you kidding me? To see how feeble he looks and, oh yeah, I'm an image of strength.
Yeah. He'll have his binder. He always has his binder, and it's the same thing. Every time before he speaks and at the end, he goes like this, walks up, looks at the binder, goes like this, closes it, and that's it. Doesn't look at it the entire time, but opens the page. And then at the end, when he's all done, he goes.
That's like Mike Pence acting like he's going to load his car with gas.
Yeah.
And he never turned on the machine.
Exactly.
He just put it on. I love you Indians and Iowans and Missourians in the Midwest. Okay, whatever.
Oh, right.
Another interesting point from tonight is a coin toss already determined the podium positions. So the coin toss did it. This was according to CNN. So Biden's campaign won the coin toss. So they selected the position of camera right. So Donald Trump will be on the left. Joe Biden will be on the right. So they made that choice, just like a flip coin at the beginning of a football game. One side chooses whether they want the ball or what side they're going to defend. So Biden chose what side he wanted to be on. So that means that tonight Trump will have the opportunity to deliver the final closing statement of the evening.
I love that.
So Biden felt it was more important to be camera right.
Mm-hmm. Is it close
to
the bathroom?
Yeah, exactly. Then to deliver the final speech of the night. Wouldn't you feel that the closing argument would be, or the final say would be the most important?
I definitely do.
Unless they run out of time and then Trump doesn't get his full time.
Yeah.
Or they cut him off early. Oh, sorry, technical difficulties. Back to CNN in the studio.
Well, I wonder if, so if he's on
That's
the
just
right,
interesting to me.
Yeah, it's like, okay, is he going to have like some monitor or something like on some part of his body that he doesn't want anybody to see, or
Landon
like a
says
little stimulus?
Landon says that it's been proven, and the AP is reporting this now, that it's a better angle to hide his ball sack chin.
Oh, there you go.
So
yeah,
the AP,
you are so smart.
Yeah, the AP is reporting that. Trust me on that.
But hold on, someone just said something, and I agreed. Oh my goodness, where did it go?
I confused you with
it was Brenda. Brenda, I'm looking.
Chin.
Oh, Brenda, you're right. I think
the ball sack chin will get you every time. Megan.
Yeah,
balls.
That just really
it
really gets me. It just throws me for a loop. But practicing standing for 90 minutes. That's got to be. I mean,
whatever he did it, he's gonna. You're gonna see your best Biden tonight.
Yeah. Well, and he's, they've got the 2 green lights that they've got right there by the microphone. So if the 2 green lights are not on, you cannot speak. So tell me that they did not do that for Biden.
Of course they did.
I mean, come on.
Of course they did. Red means stop. Green means go.
Yeah. So he's going to be looking down like this.
Here's your ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know. Oh gosh, the VP.
What do you mean the VP?
Tonight. I mean, that's an exciting part to this too.
Oh my God. I'm trying to talk debate and you want to talk VP.
Yeah,
I don't think he's announcing it. It's just the VP is going, his VP is going to be present. Now, whether they show that or not.
Well, it's going to get leaked, Joe.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a couple good things are going to happen tonight. And I'm very excited about it. And I just cannot wait. I cannot wait to see who he picks. I mean, we
may not even see. Now we'll get word.
Yeah.
But we may not see some because there's no crowd. I didn't think it's just those 2 in the debate monitors, correct?
Yeah.
Is there any chance Holly would be chosen? Any chance?
No.
As a wild card? No. None?
And Troy Vivek already said, as Megan reported earlier in the show, he told people yesterday, was it a podcast or a show?
He was on Fox. He was on with Janine, Judge Janine.
And he said it's what, not him?
He said no, because she asked him, she said, hey, apparently he wanted to fly in, talk face to face. He was going to ask his VP face to face, flew into Cleveland, yada, yada, yada. He said, no, it's not me, but he has got some great people to choose from. But, I mean, I wouldn't expect him to go, yeah, it's me. I mean, so who knows? I just don't think that.
I don't think he would lie to Judge Janine.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so.
No.
But then he could come back and be like, hey, sis, sorry about that. I couldn't spill the beans, But I don't know. I almost think that Vivek may be too much for Trump. Like, too
why would he want to be the VP?
I don't know.
No, I
he
think
needs
he can
to do something like
if he wants
education.
if he wants to be the presidential candidate in 2028 against a Ron DeSantis, I think he can do it better from not being a VP.
Yeah,
VP, you're especially under the Donald Trump, you're put at a disadvantage. There's no doubt about that. I've spoken about that before. Yeah. I'm just things to look at for tonight. Topics. That Biden's going to bring up. Allegedly, the Biden campaign has been working on, and they say a bunch of one-liners. You know why they're one-liners? Because he can't remember anything more than a one-liner.
That's right.
Convicted felon.
Mm-hmm.
You already know that's going to be brought up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pray to God that Trump does not bring up Hunter Biden unless it's in the pretense of 2020 when Biden lied to the American people about there not being a laptop. And then that became proven true.
Mm-hmm.
Biden, and we played the soundbite yesterday. He literally, it's all fake. It's all phony. And it was all 100% true. And he stood there at the mic. Please do not bring up Hunter Biden. because he's not running for president. Do you see my point on that?
I do. But it would be great for him to validate what he was saying to Biden in 2020 at the last debate about him lying and saying that the laptop had nothing. It was
that's the only reason I want him to.
Yeah, I do. I think that he should bring that up, but not, in a way where he just keeps going and going and going. Just like ask a simple question. How do you feel now? The last time we met together like this, you said that it was all, disinformation. It was all lies. So now what do you have to say about that?
Ginny says he's better, especially if Biden pulls the "you're convicted" criminal card. Maybe he won't say that up. CNN should bring it up to call Joe out. CNN will not bring up him lying. There's no way in hell. There's no. Listen, I love you guys, and I love all the people that thought that there was no evidence to convict Donald Trump. We even had a defense attorney on here who, in his career, has been one of the best in America. Said, "There's no way Donald Trump's going to get convicted. There's no evidence." I'm like, give me a break. Give me a break. You know better than I do too. It's going to happen. And of course he was. I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. And I am very positive. But there's no way CNN is going through this to raise up Donald Trump.
No, you're right about that.
There's no
they
way.
definitely are, pro Biden to say the least. But I also think it's interesting that Biden's people are telling him, do not talk about all of your accomplishments in the last 3 years. I don't know any accomplishments, but they're telling him, do not. Well, and they know because Trump's ready. He's going to come back and be like, are you kidding me?
Well, you know what they're going to talk about? They're going to talk about jobs. But if you break it down, there really haven't been jobs created in America except for illegal aliens.
Yes.
Those are the jobs that have been created, and that's factual. And the Biden administration owns the worst inflation in modern times. They own it. Inflation is real. You'll have some Democrats say, there's no inflation. It is real. Everybody knows it. And if he tries to say it's not, it's a problem.
Yeah.
If I'm Trump, I'm talking economy.
Yes.
I'm talking border. I'm talking names of women who have been raped and murdered by illegals. I mean, these are the things I'm talking about.
Yes.
Trump had the economy. Biden doesn't.
Yeah.
We had the lowest inflation ever. Trump, it was like 1% with Trump.
Yeah, 1.4, I think. And then
the deck is stacked against Joe Biden when it comes to policy and fact. The deck is stacked against Trump when it comes to the format of the debate.
I think too, bringing up just the wars, I think Iran, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, Russia. I mean, all of these things, that have happened that would not have happened
By the way,
if Trump was in office.
Oh, yeah. Todd said, hey, remember the 2.99 mortgage rates under Donald Trump?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But you bring up, okay, this is another issue I just bring up. Lost in all the headlines because we do our best to be somewhat informed around here. Ukraine just bombed the beaches of Crimea. Okay. And guess whose weapons they used? And you want to talk about Gaza, little kids dying? Look at Crimea. That's all being covered up. Kids dying on beaches from bombs and rockets dropped that were courtesy of the red, white, and blue under the Biden administration. Don't think for a second that we won't be in a World War III because of what they're trying to do now. It is damn well possible when you connect these dots. That's another great thing that should be talked about tonight, Megan.
Absolutely. Foreign affairs is huge because he has just gotten us into all kinds of issues. I mean, just even going back to September 11th of last year, giving Iran that $6 billion. And what did they do? They turned around and, bought weapons of mass destruction and sent it to Hamas.
This is a topic. These are topics that I wish Donald Trump could talk about or find time because it's so simple for him. You've got the economy on your side. You now have Joe Biden saying there's a problem at the border after he has publicly said so many times for years there was no problem because Trump was right on economy. He was right on world affairs. Nobody did shit when Donald Trump was in office because they were afraid. Well, the cat was away, the mice was playing, and they saw the feeble cognitively challenged Biden all over the place. They know the deep state is in order. You have a situation where Democrats are saying, yes, there's a deep state. Trump's been treated wrong. He has so many things on his side. I just hope he's able, and he will have a focused message. This is the most focused Donald Trump we have ever seen. There's no doubt about that.
And I hope he does ask Biden, why would you tell the American people that myself and the Republicans in Congress were withholding a secure border? Why were you telling people that? Why were you saying in one breath that, your hands were tied and you needed Congress to help you make these decisions on securing the border, and you blame it on me? Then you turn around when the pressure's on and you're realizing that, it's coming down on you. You're going to have to do something, and then turn around and then go, oh, I have to do this. Look, I have to do this executive order, and I have to be the one. I have to be the responsible one here. It's, I can't wait for him. I hope he does. I hope he asks him, how could you do that? How could you say one thing one day and then the exact opposite the next day?
I'm wondering if he does ask the questions, if the mic is allowed to be opened up. That's something that I have not found how they would handle that situation.
Yeah, that's true.
What are they going to do with that whole situation?
Right. I mean, is this going to be a debate, or is this going to be like
an hour and a half is a long time?
Yeah.
I think that's a real long time for debate. And we know that Joe Biden is not going to give quick answers. So I can't imagine him saying a lot in the answers that he is giving, especially if they're just one-liners.
Yeah. Well, there's just some very, important, I think, topics that have happened as of lately that need to be addressed. And I hope that he does.
What does Biden even have? What can Biden go after Trump with? What is there?
A felon.
You're a convicted felon.
Felon.
There's what else can he do?
Remember what he said the other day? He was saying that he was also a not a rapist, but what was the legal term that he was using? A convicted sex offender or something like that.
Let me say
because of,
and they won't be able to get into the court cases of what actually happened in those New York juries with a lack of evidence being brought in. And it was judge, jury, executioner, all put in one style. Trump team will not have an opportunity to do that. Maybe they could respond, but I just don't see anything that Biden could possibly have that's legitimate. The other part of this whole debate tonight, and we spend time on it right now talking about it, and it's fun political fodder, but at the end of the day, who really needs to see tonight's debate? It's not Republicans. It's not Democrats. Wouldn't it be independents?
Yeah.
People are on the fence.
A good point.
But how many of them are there, and will independents really be swayed one way or the other? Because independents, according to research, don't watch a lot of television anyway.
Yeah.
They don't.
Well, that's probably why they're independent.
That's what
because
the
they're
science,
not informed.
So that's where I'm like, is it just for show? Is it just for entertainment? Who benefits the most? Who really needs to see tonight's debate more? Are there really that many undecided people at this point in time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And how many people are still, looking at RFK? Yeah. I mean, he was fighting up to the bitter end to be in this
He's
debate.
going to have his own live streaming tonight.
Yeah.
But he is done. Bendy says totally for show. The other thing that's interesting as we talk about tonight's debate, look at this polling that just came out. And Joe, I sent you a graphic of this. This is courtesy of a polling guru, Nate Silver. Nate Silver gets a ton of credit for being down the middle and bringing things out. What they did is they ran 40,000. I repeat, 40,000 simulations. This is big. And they found that Donald Trump not only is going to win this election, but crush. And when I say crush, I mean crush to the tune of 65.7% winning the Electoral College compared to Biden, who has a 33.7% chance. However, here's where it gets interesting. When it comes to the popular vote, Biden would be slightly favored to win that. But if you remember in 2016, Democrats lost their mind and wanted to change the Electoral College because Trump lost the popular vote in 2016, but of course won the presidency with a ton of narrow swing state wins. He is leading in every swing state this time, or at least tied in every single polling, whether it's far right, far left, down the middle. But when it comes to electoral college, he's calling it a slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts from that standpoint?
I
Well,
want to know. I'm
no,
sorry, I
you
don't
go-
mean to
no,
interrupt.
you go
I
ahead.
want to know.
Look at that. And you can keep that up, Joe, because that is freaking. And I did want to say, Jay says he predicted Hillary winning with 85% of the vote. So don't get too excited about it.
I forgot
Oh, I'm
what
sorry.
I was going to say.
You did.
Oh, well, it'll come
Hopefully
back to you.
Back to you.
But the thing about, because Joe says he wanted to know something. And when it comes to the whole situation with this, it's not just Nate Silver. It's all the people.
Illegals.
Okay.
Are they in part of this?
No, they're not. And we always talk about that.
That's the wild card. They're handing out voter cards. They're handing out voter registration cards to illegals. We know this.
Yeah.
48 states.
First of all, I don't put anything into polling. I don't. You guys have probably heard me say that before. I don't. I can't. I've been disappointed. I was disappointed in our last election when I was watching the polling and I was watching. I think it was Bill Hemmer. He was up on the on his his green screen and showing all the red everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. Like he's going to win. He's going to win. And nope. So, and again, I don't know who actually takes these polls. I don't know anyone, in my, whether they're left or right, that have actually taken any polls. So I can't put a whole lot into it. I do think it's interesting though. And I love a good prediction. I just can't let myself get emotionally invested in polls at all.
You should, and many people don't.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But don't compare this presidential election with midterms. Midterms are not apples to apples comparisons. Usually the same people aren't voting. Voter turnout is low. I didn't buy that hook, line, and sinker, by the way. There were some evidence that were showing leading in like a month before midterms in 2022 that were showing that it wasn't going to be this red wave.
Exactly.
And then I thought that the national media was trying to hype it up so that then they could go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Lori says, I got a text yesterday requesting participation in a poll. I deleted it before I read it. Okay. Kevin says, great point. The only reason I believe polling this time is because from Donald Trump getting in and facing all the people that he's faced, the polling is matched up when he took him on head to head. It's been spot on of how he has defeated all these other people that he was going to go against. And he is also a candidate that was also president, arguably one of the best presidents that we've had when you look at statistical data. That's why I believe the polling that we had.
It's super interesting.
And
these people that do these, like this guy, they pay attention. I mean, that's what they do every day, all day. So
the other reason I believe the polling is because Obama is scared. Obama is all over the place now at these events. And we talked about this week as well, trying to help out Joe. Reports being released that he is very worried, annoyed that Joe Biden is getting beat. They're looking at that polling. That's why Obama is showing up as much as he is right now in the final days as well.
Right. Well, how could they honestly run this guy? I mean, in the beginning, 5 months ago, I was like, okay, it's all part of this little, drama that we're going to have unfold. He's not really going to run. They're going to pull him. They're going to put Gavin Newsom, and because there's just no way. And the guy is getting worse by the day. How?
He's barely made it 4 years. How's he going to make 4 more?
That's what
we already
I mean.
know this. National media is not talking about it.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that is the whole point, Joe, is just to make sure that a Dem gets in, and then whatever falls from there, however, and then, are we going to end up with knee pad Cammy running our country? I mean, but again, it's not going to be her either. It's going to be
She's been
Obama.
very, 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 very quiet.
Yeah.
Very quiet. Once again, the debate tonight starts at 8 p.m. It's scheduled for 90 minutes. We'll see if it's how that whole thing is going to, work out. I don't know. I don't know what to expect tonight. I'm just not expecting, even if Trump is great, as I've said, that he's going to get a ton of credit for his performance. But the best thing that he has said all week regardless, he's like, I've been prepared for this debate, and I've been preparing for this debate for my entire life because this is what I'm living and dealing with on a daily basis, giving everybody the policies that I will implement, telling everybody exactly what I will do, because I told people before what I would do and I did it.
Yeah. Joe, to your point about passing out the voter registration cards to illegals. So on a voter registration card right now, you have to have your driver's license number. So obviously they don't have driver's licenses. So
There are some states that are giving them driver's license.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple, but they're already blue states are going to win.
so my
Like
question,
Illinois.
Oh, okay.
yeah. So my question is, and you don't have to show any, citizenship or anything like that. So are they sending these cards in that they're being given with no driver's license number, and then they're being mailed their card?
Maybe it's a fake driver's license. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how this is going to play out. I just know that they're handing out in 48 states, at least what we reported, 2 illegal aliens or illegal immigrants voter registration cards for what the criteria is. I have no idea.
So I guess that it completely negates all of what the Constitution says about voting. So certain age,
What have they done?
citizen.
Yeah. What have they done that is constitutional at this point? I mean,
Well,
they're really pushing the Constitution.
Well, how can we even entertain having someone lead our country that is doing things that are blatantly against our Constitution?
Well,
so are we going to allow 10-year-olds to show up and vote?
Don't be surprised at some point in time. You had Nancy Pelosi trying to throw that idea out that 15-year-olds should be allowed to vote. I mean, that it's all about throwing out whatever you can and seeing what sticks.
If they can choose their gender, why can't they choose the president?
It is.
Well,
I mean,
if they can choose to mutilate themselves, then they are definitely smart enough to. Yeah.
Well, when you have the DOJ and you have the media in your back pocket, you can do a lot of that. But there are media killers, media slayers, so to speak, like Tucker Carlson. This is what I love, because if somebody comes at you, you don't have to get hyped up. You don't have to get overwhelmed with things. All you need to do is respond with truth. Truth will always win out. Okay, this is awesome. This was in Australia. I get, why is Tucker in Australia? And when was this? That's where Julian Assange is. We heard a rumor that they've already secured an interview. What's Tucker doing there? I don't know if it was already there, whatever. But you have this situation where this woman, listen to this reporter go after Tucker Carlson and then experience the worst moment of her professional life.
So much for your address today. So you talked a little bit about immigration, and in the past you've talked about how white Australians, Americans, Europeans are being replaced by non-white immigrants in what is often referred to as the Great Replacement Theory. This is the same.
Have I said that whites are being replaced?
Well,
I don't think I said that.
Well, it's been mentioned on your show 4,000 times. And
really, when did I say that?
On your show.
I said whites are being replaced?
You have said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
I would challenge you to cite that, because I'm pretty sure I haven't said that. I said native-born Americans are being replaced, including blacks.
Native-born Americans.
Native-born Americans.
And
Americans who, like black Americans, have been African Americans, have been in the United States for, in many cases, their families over 400 years, and their concerns are every bit as real and valid and alive to me as the concerns of white people whose families have been there 400 years. So I've never said that whites are being replaced. Not one time, and you can't cite it.
Untrue.
So we just met, but when our relationship starts with a lie, it makes it tough to be friends. So
you've been lying
let's
about
pull
my
that back.
press
I'm happy
gallery
to explain what I
colleagues
do
all
think.
morning as
Well, you actually can't say it because I didn't say it, and I don't believe it, and I'm telling you that to your face. So why don't you just accept me at face value? My concern is that the people who are born in the country are the main responsibility of its leaders, and as noted earlier, when those leaders shift their concern from the people whose responsibility it is to take care of to people around the world, to put their priorities above that of their own citizens, that's immoral. And they are being replaced in my country, people who are born in the United States, and the birth rate tells the whole story. They are not at replacement rate. And so the US population is growing because we're importing people from other countries. And my view is that happy people have children, and a functioning economy allows them to do that. And we don't have that. And so you need to fix the economy and fix the culture and make it so that people who want to have kids can. You don't just go for the quick sugar fix of importing new people. Like, that's my position. And if you think that's racist, that's your problem.
I never called you a racist.
But of course you are suggesting, and I must say, one of the reasons people don't like people like you in the media is that you never say exactly what you mean. Your slurs are all by implication, and you're about to tell me the great replacement theory is racist or anti-Semitic, whatever. I've said what I've said to you right now like 100 times in public. I hope to, if I live long enough, to say it 100 more times. I think it's completely honest and real, not racist or scary. It's factually true. It's not a theory, it's a fact. And the whole point of your question was to be like, you're a scary racist.
Well, I haven't.
And my response is, no, I'm not. Okay, well, how about no more lying in your questions, and then I'll answer it.
Okay. Well, this is the same theory, or as you say, idea, that has inspired the New York Buffalo shooting, where 11 black Americans were killed. 2 white Americans were killed.
Like,
and it's also inspired.
It's not. First of all,
it's inspired one of the worst Australian guys.
How do they get
time
people this stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well. Look, I'm sorry. I've lived among people like you for too long, and I don't mean to call you stupid. Maybe you're just pretending to be, but I'm totally against violence. I'm totally against the war in Ukraine, for example, which doubtless you support. And like all dutiful liberals, support more carnage. I don't. I hate mass shootings, actually. Nothing I said, what does it mean to inspire something? My views are not bigoted against any group. They're honest. They're factual. That's not hate. That's reality. And my views derive from my deep concern for Americans, actually. Americans aren't having kids because they can't afford to. And nobody in charge cares. And so that's my position. That doesn't inspire mass shootings. How dare you try to tie me to some lunatic who murdered people? How dare you, actually? And in fact, I mean, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, Hitler wore those shoes. A lot of people are saying that you're like Hitler. Can you explain those shoes? Hitler wore exactly the same shoes. And you're like, I've got nothing to do with Hitler. Well, that's how I feel about your absurd, disingenuous question.
Right, so therefore you support gun control?
What?
Oh, this gal.
I thought it couldn't get dumber, but it did. No, I don't support disarming law-abiding people so they can't defend themselves. So the government has a monopoly on violence? I don't think so. First of all, in my country, that's illegal, as you know. But moreover, it should be illegal in every country. A sovereign person has the right to defend himself and his family. Period. And that said, I'm totally opposed to harming anyone. Have you been calling? Are you concerned about the war in Ukraine and the countless innocents being murdered there every single day? I doubt you are. Probably Putin bad. I am. I'm a Christian. I hate violence. I hate mass shootings. I have guns at home and often on my person when I'm in the United States, I'm proud to say, because I want to defend myself and those I love against violence. That's the point. I'm not perpetrating crimes. I'm not shooting strangers. I'm defending what I love. And if you're against that, I guess I would ask why. Why would you be against that?
Well, so you don't think you harbor any kind of responsibility for these hate crimes?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be charitable. I was like, maybe you're just pretending to be dumb. Now I don't think it's an act.
Tucker, thank you for taking those questions. I'm sure you enjoyed
Actually, I loved it. I just feel sorry. I mean, because I got here and the country's so unbelievably beautiful and the people are so cheerful and funny and cool and smart. I'm like, your media's got to be better than ours. It can't just be a bunch of castrated robots reading questions from the boss. And then it turns out it's exactly the same, maybe even a tiny bit dumber.
I love Tucker.
Me too. That was awesome.
The insufferable reporter is Rita Panaya. She's with Sky News, and she has a long history of being a left loony liberal, like many of them are proving to be. And my God, is she just, and here's the thing, that is a pride issue. She's not dumb.
I don't know.
She is, maybe she is, but that's more of a pride issue. That's a pride where they refuse. Because you've all had these conversations with people, arguments, debates, whatever they may be. And they know the truth, but they refuse to accept it because their anger, their pride, that evil pride will not allow them to tell the truth.
No, I'm embarrassed for her.
Yeah, Sky News usually makes fun of Biden. They do.
Oh my God.
More conservative leaning than not, or at least going after Biden, which was shocking to me.
Yeah, she was not gonna hear him. She wasn't, no matter what. It was like, okay, what's the next crazy off the wall thing you're gonna say next? Like she was just like rattling things off that made no sense at all.
Pandering creepy from our chat line.
Yes, definitely. I mean, if it wasn't for her accent, that at least makes her like not want to be like if I were Tucker, I'd want to like come across and like choke her out. You know what I mean?
From the chat line, that's more ego than pride, guys.
Yeah.
Jill says, I don't think they do know the truth because they refuse to hear it. In that case, yeah, she is dumb.
She is dumb.
Brainwashed from Bendy.
Yeah.
That reporter is the perfect example of you just can't fix stupid.
Well, and
all right, you guys have won me over. She's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
And the whole gaslighting game, that they play. And I love how, he was like, look, I didn't say anything about whites. It was just about Americans, like, American born, citizens. And so these are the people like her that are always trying to create the divide, call names, call everybody racists and all of these things. But yet she's the one who had the color of skin on her mind. She's the one. And so I think that the rhetoric for all conservatives, it needs to change. We need to, I don't want to say gaslight back, but just change the conversation, turn it around and say, oh, I'm so sorry that's all you see is, or heard was the color of skin. Do you have an issue with whites or blacks? Instead of us always being the punching bag and taking all of the name calling and all the racist comments and all of this other, stuff is just changing the conversation,
Thank you, Tucker, because here's what you do. You have to stand up to the aggressor. You can't just sit back and, well, yeah, I just don't want. There's nothing wrong, as we talked about, with being persistent, being polite, but being a leader. Be persistent, be polite, but be a leader. Stand on business, stand on truth, speak truth. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of being canceled because the tide has turned. There will still be people. There will still be reporters. There'll still be workers. There'll still be colleagues and coworkers who try to push this kind of thing onto you. You don't have to take it. And there's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself in a polite, legal way. And some people say you don't have to be polite. Just be legal.
Yeah. I mean,
just be legal, because we've seen so many cases of the left and that side doing things that are illegal, not to mention unpolite. Put it back. Yep, there it is. Paul said, put it back on them.
Yeah, you have
That's
to.
what you have to. Do not sit back. Do not think that, oh, I don't want to worry. I just don't want drama. Sometimes you're put directly in the path of drama and you have no choice. And if you cower at that moment, guess what? That's a moment lost. And then there you are. And then this kind of stuff continues to roll down the track. Aggress the aggressor in a polite way. Bully the bullier in a polite way.
Yeah.
Go head on with the person that's trying to come at you head on.
Yeah. And I think
because, as I've said, God has not given you a spirit of fear.
Yeah.
But power, love, self-control, sound mind, however you want to end that.
Self-control, one of the best fruits of the spirit. You can be bold and you can be confrontational, but have self-control at the same time. This woman did not have any self-control. She was just, vomiting her random thoughts that were in her head. But I think now is the most important time in our country and all of our each individual lives that we really do need to be okay speaking truth and being comfortable, when people are trying to take shots at us, coming back and saying, you know what, I think that you might be the one that has the issue here. It's not me. In the name calling, you have to be able to take it, but then you have to be able to redirect it back, because that's the only way that conservatives or people that just want to have some kind of moral validity in this country anymore, that's what we're going to have to do.
Unless we take off the gloves and give it back to them to the same degree that they have done for decades, nothing will change. That according to Landon on the chat. Because you're going to have people stirring the pot. You're going to have people trying to play the game. They're going to try to get under your skin. Paula says reverse child psychology on adults. Try it. It works.
It does.
It is even worth Is it even worth engaging with them?
Mhm.
I'm torn on this. I would say no, it's not worth engaging with somebody. But sometimes, like I said, you'll know you're put into a situation. For example, Tucker's on a stage. He was put into that situation. And John says Tucker is correct. We need more American families expanding. Our government should give families $5,000 per year for each child born for the first 5 years. Go America. Go America. We do not have a population problem, as the media tries to tell you.
No.
We are not overpopulated. We are not. That is another one of those myths that, it goes along the signs of climate change. We've got all of these. No, we don't.
Carbon footprint and all of that other garbage that they try to make you feel guilty about because you actually want to procreate and have a family, and God forbid you want to have a family.
Yes.
These days.
Jeannie says, I did my part. I had 6. Amen.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Congrats
Jeannie.
to you for having 6.
Going back to engaging, do you think that Tucker changed that reporter's mind? I mean, is it worth it to engage like Tucker did? I mean, he did it in the best way possible. Do you think that everything that guy said changed that reporter's mind one bit?
And that's pro Joe talking.
We won't ever know.
I'm going to give you my opinion. Hell no. Because that woman, in my humble opinion, had a mission. She understood the assignment she had from her boss, and it's to attack Tucker Carlson, because she had no fact. She had no precedents to stand on. He called her out within the first 30 seconds. Really cite when I said what you said, what I said. And she couldn't.
Yeah.
So from a reporter standpoint, she was inept, not prepared, tried the gotcha moment, which also shows me that she is evil, which means that she knew exactly what she was going there for. So do I think Tucker changed her mind? No, I don't.
I think she was paid to have that point of view.
Yeah.
So she's going where the money's at.
Well, you couldn't pay me enough money, though. I'm telling you, to stand up there and be so stupid and ignorant as that. You could not. I wouldn't do it. There's just no way. So a part of her, I wouldn't be surprised if, she's doing it for free and she thinks that that's her 15 minutes or 15 seconds of fame, But, interesting though, lately, some of the conversations that I've had with some of the young liberals that I know very well, it's interesting because the latest thing going around is that President Trump, if he's reelected, will put a ban and make it illegal for gay people to be married. Okay. So
that is 100% false.
Completely. And here's what I think is very interesting about this. These liberals that believe this, or someone told them that, and so now they're playing the game of telephone and passing it on. It's interesting because they'll tell anyone this garbage that they think will believe it. But when someone like me, which I just did a couple days ago, confronted them, and whoever said the whole reverse psychology, that's what made me think about this as like a child. It's so interesting because all I said was like a couple quick sentences. And it was, I know that you're just saying this for a fact. Like, I know that you're so much smarter than that to believe something so ignorant and so stupid. You're just saying that just to get a rise out of people, right? And her answer was yes. So, it's almost like a game to them. They're going to see who they can, get to believe all of their delusions in. But then when someone comes and confronts them with it and is like, you come on, like you're so much smarter than that. Then they're like, oh yeah. I was just kidding. So it's just one big game for these people, So lying and spreading disinformation is the name of the game for them. 100%.
And we're grateful that we have enough people out there who have learned. Just think how many people's minds have changed in the last 4 years. There have been a lot. A lot of people have seen the light. You can thank COVID. You can thank 3.5 to almost 4 years of disaster from Biden. Not saying everybody's mind's going to be changed, which is why I start to think why this debate does it really help get more people to vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden? Because so many people, it's so divided, and it seems to me the lines are so specifically drawn that I don't see a lot of people down the middle. those independents are people who said, I won't even vote.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I've heard.
Well, and those are the people that I don't want voting, to be honest. I wish that everyone that was over 18 was registered to vote, and that, by law, you had to take just a quick civics, test or whatever, every year, or especially before you vote, so that you know what you're voting for, so that you don't go in and basically give a blind vote. But that's never going to happen. But there are people that it's not, just going in a crapshoot, like, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to flip a coin, and whoever I land on, I'm going to vote for. That is detrimental to our country.
From the chat line, if anybody needs to go with anybody and talk about things that we're talking about when it comes to the lies being spread about Trump that Megan just brought up when it came to the gay community, is that Trump had a gay couple's wedding at Mar-a-Lago. So if he's anti-gay marriage, he's pretty bad at being it. Plus, ask all the gay Republicans of the log cabin who we have interviewed on this show about Donald Trump and who actually has their back and who likes to say things in public but doesn't really have their back. There's a reason that group is growing and growing by leaps and bounds. It's because they see Donald Trump for who he is, and that's an honest man, regardless of how you feel about people who are gay or not. But he has had gay people around him his entire life, one of his best friends as well. And he talks about this in books as well. So it's all a sham, and just make sure you're prepared to give a good count of yourself.
Exactly.
Whenever you're put into that situation.
Yep.
One thing I wanted to do before we got out of here today on Cancel This is we wanted to show our bingo card again that Bendy put a lot of time into. The bingo card for the debate tonight. What do you want? Whoever wins. This is just one. Now, if you're doing a bingo card, you'd have to have several bingo cards, right? To see who would win if you're competing against somebody. So they'd have to but this is a fun one that maybe everybody could play together. Once again, threat to democracy, path to citizenship. He whispers. He talks about gun violence. He says, not a joke. These are all things that you would get a spot for if Biden addresses tonight.
Come on, man. Is that on there?
Yes.
It is?
That's on there. Women's health care.
All right.
Climate change crisis. The economy is growing. Student loan forgiveness. Trump's a convicted felon. He freezes. Millions of jobs created. Yeah. He starts to yell. The immigration system's broken. Come on, man. Like you already said, he'll laugh, but he never really laughs. He just gives that kind of weird, like,
yes. Oh, talk about creepy.
It's like you just wait for his lizard tongue to come out with his black eyes. And it's just like, I mean, he's like reptilian.
Oh my gosh.
It's not Friday yet, so I won't bring up the reptilian people yet, but we'll do it on Friday, maybe.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Reduced insulin costs. Folds his hands slowly. Bipartisan. This is the United States of America. Scratches his forehead. He says, man, because we know what he does with that. Scratches his nose, and then he says, there's nothing we can't do.
Yeah. Scratching his nose is when he either forgot what he was going to say, or he's getting ready to tell you a lie.
Oh my God. Is it really? Oh, I'll have to be looking for that
time.
Tonight.
That's his delay. It's like, okay, wait, like I'm just going to act like, I got an itch real quick and go. And then he'll say whatever.
I like that. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot.
But yeah, and his hands, his frozen hands are like this now.
Yeah, they are.
They are. He walks like this.
Well, we've seen him do that.
I mean, I say poor guy, but you know what? He's still a liar. It's like you'd think that in his old age, with his brain deteriorating, his body is deteriorating, that he'd find the grace that he needs and just stop lying. But man, the guy is just a professional liar.
All the things that he's done is coming back to him. This is karma.
Well, yeah, Joe, you could have a point there.
All right. Joe, since you were just up there, what's your prediction on the debate tonight? Because good, bad, ugly, what do you think we see? What happens?
I think Trump is a good person.
I would love to see you when you give
it's up.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. I'm looking at the wrong
side.
I think no matter what happens, Trump always finds a way to come out smelling like a rose. So I think it could be disastrous. at first, and then Trump's going to make a positive out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
And you, Megan?
I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to roll in there. I think he's going to be relaxed, and I think he's going to be measured. I think that he's going to do. I think he's going to try to carry on and talk a little bit after the mics are off, because that's just like a natural part, of when you're in a debate. You can't just turn it off. That's just weird. But I think that he's going to say the right things. I think he's going to answer the right questions in the right way, and and just be composed and let Biden make a jerk of himself.
I think he's going to do a good job as well. I think, but I also think Biden, because the standard has been put so low for him, I think he is going to perform up to whatever his standard is, which isn't very high. And that's why I think at the end of the night, we will think Trump won, but media won't say that, because if media says Trump won, it's over. Unless and then the only thing that could change all of that, and that was my prediction, is if the deep state does not want Joe Biden, and this is the final nail in this coffin. But to this point, they've promoted him to a point where he is the guy.
Return.
Yes.
Which
makes me think, okay, then if you're at that point of no return, there's no way, absolutely no way, they can have him not look or be talked about as if he is the best man and the leader, this symbol of strength.
Yeah. I think that they're all shocked that this is happening. Whether they really wanted him to be the man, the president, or not, it is too late. It's gone too far. And I think that they are shocked that Trump accepted under all of these conditions. I was like, that's it? You're just going to say yes and you're going to go along with all of this?
Yeah.
But he did.
All right. As they say, get your popcorn ready. Hey, Wenty's having a debate party. Go to the Wenty's, Chesterfield Valley, Defiance. They'll be watching. One of our sponsors. Check out Wenty's, of course. And also special thanks to Complete Auto Body Repair. 5 locations throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. CompleteAB.com. And, of course, the injury attorney, the conservative injury lawyer, conservativeinjurylawyer.com. David Gregory. If you've been in an accident or know somebody, don't go anybody else assigning, so to speak, until you talk with Dave first. I used him twice. There's nobody better when it comes to this or any personal injury case, and we appreciate their support here. Finally, Chris says, my prediction is Trump will get Biden flustered since the audience won't be able to hear Don's jabs at Sleepy Joe while his mic is muted. Wouldn't that be nice? Guys, we appreciate you jumping in for Kansas. Megan, awesome as always.
Thank you. It's fun.
Lizzie, we thank you for your help as you're chiming in as you can, as you're moving. Lizzie back tomorrow. I think we'll have Eric Kelly-Mano out tomorrow. So we'll say for Projo and Megan Marie Moret, I'm Vic Faust. Have an awesome day. Thank you for supporting Cancel This, and continue to let us know what we can do. Thanks for donations. You can do it on our page. Anything helps. And of course, thank you for any ideas for advertisers or sponsors. We'll catch up with you guys later.